Okay, so hello everyone. Hello to my students in ethics and critical thinking. So this is your professor, Dr. Ilag, and today I welcome you to the start of our philosophy lecture series. So our topic today, as our first lesson, focuses on symbol, meaning, and definition of philosophy. This belongs to the wider topic on the what and the why of philosophy. Alright, so to start off, I would like to introduce to you my friends, your friends, and they are Philo and Sophie. And we are so lucky because from today to the end of our philosophy series, these two guys will be helping us. They will always be with us to help us answers our many questions in our discussions in philosophy. So, Philo is greeting you. He says, "Hi everyone, I am Philo. I am passionate and I represent love." And then Sophie tells you, "Hello there, I am Sophie. I am wise and I represent wisdom." So please meet them and welcome them. Okay, so let us proceed. So here, Philo is, or Sophie is asking Philo something. He says, or she says, "Philo, are meaning and definition the same or different from each other?" And Philo responds, "Oh, Sophie, that's a very unusual question. It is interesting. Well, I don't have a ready answer for now." Sophie and Philo are presenting somewhat a problem, something that can be the focus of our discussion today. So let us proceed. So, I myself, together with Philo and Sophie, will be presenting to you the objective of our lesson today. So in this lesson, we will address some important concerns. Particularly, we are going to show the practical use of symbol or sign of philosophy, elucidate the complex aspects of definition affecting our thinking processes, demonstrate the use of critical thinking in distinguishing between meaning and definition. And finally, we invite you to reflect on the insights that we can generate from this lesson, especially the concept of paradox. So join and learn with us. So let us begin with this first topic, the symbol or sign of philosophy. So the Greek letter phi with uppercase and lowercase is used as a symbol of or sign of philosophy. But what is a symbol? A symbol is a mark or character used as a conventional representation of an object, function, or processes. On the other hand, sign is anything that leads to the knowledge of something distinct from itself. So I'm presenting to you these two letters, actually one letter, but one is simply the uppercase, the capital letter, and the other one is the lowercase or the small letter. We also call it majuscule for the uppercase and minuscule for the lowercase. For practical purposes, we can informally use this symbol to save our time and effort. For example, we can informally write this one using the symbol of philosophy to say philosophy is a human activity. To mean the formal statement, philosophy is a human activity. And also we can use this one, this informal one, Socrates is a philosopher. No? That symbol of philosophy is added by a hyphen and then PHER, and for us that can already mean this formal statement, Socrates is a philosopher. Well, that is pretty cool. Well, for our own purposes only inside our class, we can use this for practical purposes. Now we have here the list of the Greek alphabet, and it is located here where you can find the letter Phi or Phi. So it is here. Okay. So our next question would be, is the symbol used universally? Are all people in the world using this symbol? Well, I think that is not a big deal. No? Well, let us see what Philo and Sophie are about to say about this question. Well, according to Philo, he thinks that people often use this symbol because it is found as the first letter in philosophy. So, well, it's not a big deal. And for Sophie, she says she doubts if people actually use them universally. As I said a while ago, maybe yes, this is important for us for our practical uses in our class. Let us now proceed to a more serious topic, definition and meaning. And our basic question would be, are they the same or different from each other? And can they be used interchangeably? So I think that question is an interesting question. So you can see here definition, here is meaning. So we would like to know whether definition and meaning are just the same or different from each other. And then if they are different from each other, what makes them different? So we are going now to explore this, but there is a background. Actually, this is based on my own experience and perhaps your own experience also. Because when we are trying to look at the meaning or definition of something, and usually we use Google search. No? If, for example, we are interested in finding the meaning or definition of philosophy, so our first step is to type or to write the word that we would like to research, and then after that we would add meaning, no, as our command. And then when we are about to submit it, then you change your mind. So instead of using the word meaning, you said to yourself that you want to use definition, no? Because you would like to know whether meaning or definition as a command would give you a different result. And so you submitted it. And then to your surprise, you found out that whether you use meaning or definition, you are getting the same result. Okay, so and this is a clear example of what I am speaking about. So you are now having your initial conclusion that meaning and definition are simply the same. Okay? But because we are in the philosophy class, we would like to use that situation for us to employ and to practice critical thinking. So actually that is the direction of our discussion today. We will be demonstrating a simple use of critical thinking in our attempt to establish the sameness and the difference between meaning and definition. So let us apply some sort of critical thinking here. So before we define philosophy, why not define first the term definition? So by the way, when we say critical thinking, it is like we would like to be critical about the things that are happening around us. For example, if we are on our way and along our way, we notice that there is something worthy of our attention. In this case, if we are on the way to our discovery of philosophy, then suddenly we notice that something is also important to address. And this is the word definition. So instead of going directly to philosophy, to defining philosophy, why not focus first on the word definition. Well, maybe this is the first time that you're encountering these processes, no? And this happens only in the subject philosophy, especially when we apply critical thinking. So, what is definition? So we focus now on the understanding of definition. All right. So here is the complicated processes of definition. Through the schematic diagram, I would like to show you the complex aspect and processes of definition. Because some of you maybe is thinking that the act of defining is just a simple thing. And if I ask you if the act of defining is easy, then most probably you would say, well, the act of defining is an easy task. So that is one of the purposes of this discussion, to show you the complexity of the process of definition. Okay, so this is the word definition. Now, if you attempt to define anything, for example, a chair or an egg, you have to undergo some processes. First of all, you have to consider one aspect, which is nominal, and the second one is real, meaning to say that if you're attempting to define anything, first of all, you have to use the nominal aspect, which means name, no? Because the word nominal comes from the Greek word nomen, which means name. So you give the name. For example, in the case of the chair, you say chair, and then you consider the other aspect of defining, which is examining the real aspects of the thing that you're defining, which is the chair. Meaning, you are examining the totality of the characteristics that can be found in that thing that you are defining, which is the chair. For example, you are interested to know the shape, the color, the weight, the materials that make up that chair that you are attempting to define. In the same way, you can use the processes. For example, if you would like to define an egg, so the same process should be applied. So you have to consider its nominal aspect and the real aspect. Okay, let's proceed now. When considering the nominal aspect, you are face to face with the two subdivision, which are one, the etymological aspect, and the other one is the vernacular aspect. When you say etymological, you are now applying a process, because actually etymology is a process of tracing back the origin of the word. I want to give you one example. So suppose you have a peculiar terminology, for example, theology. No? I think for some people the word theology is not that familiar. So to apply etymology, you have to dissect the word. So you have two parts already. One is the word theo or theos, and the other one is logi. Now theos is literally interpreted as God, and then logi, of course, means the study of, the science of, or the reason for understanding that particular field of study. So you have now a proper understanding of the word theology using the etymological aspect of definition. Okay, so meaning theology is the study of God, or let's just say theology is the study of the revelations of God. It can also mean the study of spirituality, religion, and so on. Okay, so let us proceed now to the other aspect, which is vernacular. Well, to say vernacular, it refers to a language or a dialect spoken by the ordinary people in a particular country or region. Okay, so um, we know that in the world there are things which have different names depending on how people in different places or regions are calling them. Okay, so on the next slide of this presentation, I will give you an example of how vernacular is being used. Okay, so you notice that the aspect of nominal, or the nominal aspect of definition, is not that complicated. It's quite simple. But when we go to the other aspect, which is real, then we discover that it's more complicated. Okay, so when we consider real as the other aspect of definition, then um, we have to consider two things. One is intrinsic, and the other is extrinsic. By the way, when you say intrinsic, it means belonging to the essential nature, or simply put, it is talking about the nature itself, the essence of the essential nature of something that you are defining. And when you say extrinsic, it means it is not forming part of the essential nature of something that you are defining. Okay, not part of the essential nature of someone or something, or is coming from or operating from the outside. So it is not belonging to the essential nature of that something that you're defining. Okay, and then we go to our discussion on intrinsic. To say intrinsic is to recognize the word essential. Essential. Well, when we say essential, like our understanding of intrinsic, essential also refers to the essential nature of something. And then, going further, to say essential, then we have to consider its two aspects, genus and species. Well, let us simplify this. To say genus simply means the universal, and the species means the specific. Well, don't worry, because later on we shall have a much detailed discussion about this aspect. Now we proceed to descriptive. Well, to understand descriptive here is to understand it in a sense that it is not the essential. It is like it is part of the essential or the essence, but it is not that important that the essence cannot exist without it. Meaning to say, to explain this aspect, meaning we can simply remove that aspect and retaining the essence unchanged. So in short, this one, although it forms part of the essential, does not affect totally, or that does not change no the essential nature of something that we are defining. So the descriptive part refers to the properties or the so-called accident. Well, this word accident now becomes very interesting for us, because we have a common understanding of accident. For example, in common speech, when we say accident, It refers to something that happened unexpectedly. For example, a person met an accident, and because the accident is so serious, that person is brought to the hospital. And maybe because it's very serious, the person is brought to the ICU. So that is our common understanding of accident. So on the following slide, I am going to explain that aspect, no, accident, clearly, because that understanding is different from the philosophical understanding of the word accident. And for you, as the students of philosophy, it is important for you to be familiar with such kind of understanding. Okay, so before I proceed to the next slide, let me mention about this one, extrinsic, which, as I said, not part of the essential nature of someone or something. So here, extrinsic is simply talking about the origin, the cause, the purpose of that something that we are defining. And because it is only talking about the origin, the cause, the purpose, we can say that that is not part of the essential nature of something. It is outside of our comprehensive understanding of the essential nature of that something that we are defining. Alright, so we will proceed now to the next slide. But a while ago, I also mentioned about vernacular. So I think it is good that I provide an example so that you can understand that aspect of definition, vernacular. Which, as we said a while ago, it refers to the language or dialect spoken by the ordinary people in a particular country or region. So I have here something. It is a trivia actually, and I am reminding you it is a joke. So please be generous enough. You may laugh, you may smile. Okay, so do you know that Pulilan Apalit Bridge, well, that is the Pulilan Apalit Bridge located in the Philippines. So actually this is found as a connecting bridge between Bulacan and Pampanga, no? So you can imagine how long is this bridge. So long that an egg becomes a bird upon reaching its end. Does it sound surprising? Well, first of all, it is a joke. So, and you have to understand the point of this joke. Okay, so how did it happen that an egg, when you travel from the beginning to the end of this long bridge, the egg becomes a bird? Well, of course, the answer to this puzzle, or the point of the joke, actually lies on the concept of the word vernacular. Okay. Why? Because in the Philippine context, especially in the Tagalog region, we call egg as itlog. Okay? And then, in other places in the Philippines, and because the Philippines is having different dialects, no? So our country has many dialects, owing to the fact that our country is archipelagic, no? So we have different places, and those places are having their own dialects. So, do you know that in other places, the egg, is called ebun? Okay, so that is in Kapampangan. Now, accommodating it in the form of a joke, so we consider that word ebon as ibon, or bird. So that actually where the point of the joke lies. Okay, so it is interesting, right? So um, I hope this somehow entertains you, because our philosophy discussion is so serious. Actually, some people find it boring. So for you not to be bored all the time, so I am presenting to you this joke, if you may consider this as a joke. Okay, so I am sharing with you actually something that I researched. So it is I got it from Itlog PH. If you want to research it, you can find it. So I got it because it is very interesting and very connected to our discussion in philosophy, especially on the vernacular aspect of definition. So look at this. So we have here the Tagalog region, and we have here listed other places found in the Philippines: Bisaya, Bicol, Kapampangan, Ilocano, Panggalatok, Maranao, Bicol, Tagbanwa, Chabacano. And here are the names, no? How they call egg depending on their specific places. So for Bicol, itlog is called bunay, Kapampangan ebon. So that is the one that we used in our joke. Then Ilocano is eklog, Panggalatok itnol, Maranao orak, Bicol sogsog or sugok, Tagbanwa tilog, and Chabacano huevos. Well, we have here something. Judgment $366. Okay, so kindly research about that to further your understanding about this. But for our purpose, so I think this clarifies more what we mean by vernacular, no? And vernacular, as we explained a while ago, is an important aspect of definition. All right, so let us proceed. So let's go to a more serious, let's go deeper, a more serious discussion in philosophy. And it's the one that I mentioned a while ago, no, about the accident, which is the opposite of essential. No? Okay. So first of all, to say accident, as I mentioned a while ago, in the common speech, means a chance incident which is normally harmful. So a while ago I talked about an unexpected event, like if someone met an accident, a vehicular accident, for example, and if the accident is so serious, then the person is brought to the hospital or to the ICU. But I told you that that word accident that we are talking about is not referring to the common speech, but it is referring to the philosophical understanding of accident. Okay, so to continue, so let us consider an example that I gave here, the eyeglasses, and we are going to examine this eyeglasses in relation to an example that I also gave here. It is an old man, okay, so old that he is experiencing some problems already. For example, maybe the old man is having or his eyes are failing, and so the old man is needing an instrument, the eyeglasses, so that he can use it, so that he can function at least normally. All right, so it is now a relationship between the eyeglasses and the old man. Okay, Now, our basic question for this um, subtopic under definition is: are eyeglasses essential? I think that is an important question, but a very basic question. Are eyeglasses essential? Well, I think what is um, happening in your mind actually is that, well, you're thinking, no, immediately you're thinking that, yeah, of course, the eyeglasses are important, especially in relation to that old man. No, the eyeglasses are important, no doubt, of course. But going deeper, we will notice that there are two answers actually to that question. It is a yes, and the other one is a no. Well, of course, we have to ask the opinions of our friends, Philo and Sophie, no? And of course, for Philo, his answer is yes. But he says only in the sense that they are important or necessary, etc. Okay, don't worry. For on the next slide, I am going to specifically address this one. I'm going to explain this uh, in a much deeper but clearer manner. No? Then let us go to the opinion of Sophie. She says no. No, because the eyeglasses are not forming part of the essence. Okay? Do you get that? So, to answer the basic questions, are eyeglasses essential? Our answers are two: yes and no. Let us address first the yes answer. Only in the sense that they are important or necessary. Okay? So obviously for that old man, so the eyeglasses are important, no? Necessary, needed. Okay? Crucial maybe, to the point that you can say that to that old man, his eyeglasses are vital for him. So that's how we can, we can describe how necessary, how important those eyeglasses are for the old man. So it is a yes. Okay? Do you get it? Now, let us consider the no answer. No, because they are not actually forming part of the essence. Now let's consider the essence. What actually is the essence? Well, when you say essence, it talks about the nature. Later on in our discussions, you will discover that essence means the nature of something. More philosophically, we can call that the whatness of something. What something is. So, applying that to the nature of this old man, as our example here, speaking of the essence of that old man, we can say that his essence is his being a human. His humanness. That is his essence. Okay? Do you get that? So, in relation to the eyeglasses, we are saying now that the eyeglasses are not important. No, they are not important in the sense that the eyeglasses, as only an accident, to the old man, is not part of the essence of the old man. The eyeglasses is not forming part of the humanness of the old man. No? So that is not important in that sense, because it is only an accident. Now, to say accident is to say, or to express, well, it just so happened that because that man is old enough, then he needs eyeglasses so that he can function at least normally. So that way, we are saying that the eyeglasses are simply an accident, then that is our philosophical understanding of accident. Well, we can give other examples like not only the use of the eyeglasses, but I think also the use of the clothes. So you can ask, are our clothes necessary or important for us? Well, we have the same answers, no? A yes and a no. Well, our clothes are necessary, yes. Because according to our culture, we have to wear it, no? So it is necessary for us to cover our body. But it is not important in the sense that our clothes are simply our accidents. It just so happened that our culture dictates that we need to wear clothes, no? Because if we don't do that, then we can said to be violating our culture. But actually, there are cultures where you can find people who are not wearing clothes, and it doesn't matter. So you must have heard about the nude city, no? No, where people are actually wearing no clothes and they are unmindful of everybody's presence. So it's just normal for them. Okay, so that is our understanding or another example of an accident. Now, you may say that that example is quite remote to the old man. Let us say that, yeah, that example is quite remote, no, and easily understood. What about giving an example that is somewhat near to the essence or to the humanness of an individual, particularly of that old man? Let us consider now another aspect of the essence of that old man, which is the brown eyes. No, let us suppose that the old man is having a brown eyes. Okay. Now, we are also saying that that possession of the brown eyes of the old man can be considered an accident also, because actually that brown eyes is not forming part of the essential nature of the old man. Okay, for example, if we ask, will that old man die, no, if he is not possessing the brown eyes, I mean, or let's say is the nature or the essence of that old man, his being human, affected whether he is having brown eyes or blue eyes or black eyes, whichever? So our answer for that is, of course not. So having brown eyes or blue eyes or black eyes are not actually affecting the nature of the person. The person remains as a human person. All right. So for that reason, we can say that characteristic, having these brown eyes, is also an accident, no? Because it is not. We can say that it's forming part of the essence, but we can say that it is only adhering to the essential nature, and for that reason we can actually remove that characteristic and it doesn't matter, meaning the substantial nature remains. All right, so class, so that is our explanation of on the philosophical understanding of accident, no, which is part of or an aspect of definition. Okay, so I told you that I will explain this part, so let me attempt to give you an additional information, hoping that you can understand more that aspect of our discussion. Okay, so let me put it this way. So When I say that your answer is not wrong, okay, I mean it does not mean it is automatically right. So we can put that situation, for example, when we are in our classroom. Suppose I ask you questions and you provided answers, and then when you get my reply, no, and when I say your answer is not wrong, well, I am not saying that your answer is automatically right, but I mean something. And I think I can demonstrate that by using this one, no, the dartboard. Okay, so I know everybody is familiar with the use of the dartboard, and the most important thing about the dartboard is the bullseye. I think that is the essence of the dartboard, hitting the bullseye. Okay, suppose in our classroom, I ask you something. I ask you about a word, an English word, essential. So my question is, class, do you understand the word essential? And of course, because you know it, and you're confident that you know it, so one after the other, you raised your hands and you recited, giving the answers. For example, you say one, important. No, some of you say necessary. One of you says crucial, then needed, and then vital. And then I appreciate. Okay, so those are interesting answers. But to your surprise, my reply to your answers is that, well, your answers are not wrong. Which means I do not mean that your answers are automatically right. What I'm trying to say is, when you provided an understanding of on the word essential, maybe you are just relying on a common knowledge, a common understanding. And I think the problem among us, especially in dealing with or in speaking an English language or word, is that we are we are fluent enough, and we're using English language or English words according to how we heard other people are using them, but not necessarily understanding, no, the exact understanding of the word. For example, when we say essential, we are not only contented upon hearing that it is important, necessary, crucial, needed, or vital, etc. Yeah, those answers are accepted, of course, because those answers are not wrong. So you can consult again our example here, the dartboard. So you can look at the different pins there. So they're hitting different peripheries of the dartboard. So of course, like our example here, so maybe your answers are accepted. Why not? Because they are not wrong. So in the same way that other pins here are hitting, those are that still can be included, no, as acceptable. For example, acceptable to the rule when you're playing the game of darts. So yeah. So that are still considered, no. But the point is that, no, and this is our emphasis here. The point is that when you provided your answers, in fact, you are not hitting the bullseye. You are not giving me your exact understanding of the word essence. Because the word essence, of course, is not originally an English word. This is a Greek word. And when we say Greek word, or if it is a Greek thing, then it is not an ordinary thing. It is something deep. Okay? So, when I ask you now, about the word essence, no, then maybe I think this is the start of the biggest problem in your life, because you cannot readily provide your exact understanding of the word essence. Well, of course, this is something philosophical. Okay. Well, um, well, the understanding of essence is not that difficult. No, actually, it is simple. To say essence is to mean the nature of something. No, to say nature is to say what something is. That is why philosophically we say essence to mean the whatness, no, or what something is. So that is our philosophical understanding of the word essence. And now we say that that understanding is the bullseye. All right. So in trying to uh, use, in trying to define using the concept of definitions, it is not that simple. I mean, you have to consider the many complicated aspects of definition. So, as our conclusion now, it is not that easy. Easier said than done, because the act of defining actually is a complicated task.